Do you live in California and you're behind on your rent? Are you afraid you're going to be evicted? Well, let me answer a few of your questions and concerns. I'm Gary Fraley. I'm a bankruptcy attorney in Sacramento, California. I've been a bankruptcy specialist representing people with financial problems for over 40 years. While my bankruptcy law office is in Sacramento, I represent people most in Northern and Central California, the Sierras, and the Bay Area. The concern about being evicted is a common one I hear from my bankruptcy law clients. So let's separate fact from fiction when it comes to what is really going on rent-wise in California. Right now, the California eviction process, with a few exceptions, has been stopped until September 30th, 2021. So what happens when it ends if you're behind on your rent? Well, the simple answer is that the landlord ultimately can start an unlawful detainer eviction lawsuit against you. However, there's what amounts to a grace period before they can file their eviction lawsuit. The law extended that moratorium in California to the end of September, also stops the landlord from filing an eviction lawsuit before November 1, 2021. The reason for the delay is to give people the opportunity to catch up their back rent in October so they can stay in their home or apartment. There are approximately 1.6 million households in America that are behind on their rent. A large portion of those households will not be able to bring their rent current without some sort of government help. Now, you've probably heard there are some things that the state of California may do to help you. The governor has been promoting California's $5.2 billion renters relief program. It would, when running correctly, pay back 100% of the rent for low-income renters impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. The governor said the state could pay back rent as far back as April of 2020. It may even pay some future rent and utility bills. Now, the basic requirements for you to get rental help in California are: 1, your income has to be at or below 80% of AMI, and I'll explain what that is in a bit. Number 2, the household must have a decrease in income because of the COVID-19 pandemic, or someone has qualified for unemployment. 3, you must have a demonstrated risk of experiencing homelessness or housing instability. Great. Now, what does all that mean for you? Well, first, you need to be a low-income renter. So what is a low-income renter? That is going back to where you have a household income that is below 80% of that AMI. Now, you've probably never heard of AMI. I hadn't until I had to find out to do this video. AMI stands for Area Median Income. Now, we're going to break that down. First, median income is the amount of household income where half of all households' income is above that amount and half of them have income below that amount. It is not the same as average income. Think of it this way. If you had 7 households and 3 of them, say, had $5,000 a month of income, and 3 of them had $500 of income, and 1 had $1,000 worth of income. If you took that total and took the average, that'd be an average $2,500 income. However, if you look at the 3 households and the incomes of $5,000 each are up here, the $500 each are down here, that would mean that median income is that middle check or middle income that's $1,000. As you can see, there's a big difference between average income and median income. So what does area mean? In California, that's identified based on the county you live in. So area equals county. The next question is, what does household income mean? Household income in California means the sum of income generated by all people over 15 years old who occupy a housing unit, such as a house or a duplex or an apartment. Household income is gross income. That means it is the amount before the taxes are deducted. Now be aware that if you have a Freddie the freeloader type person living with you who has income but is contributing very little of it to the household, all of their income, all of it, still counts as household income. Now they do count for how many people are living in the household, which might help you a little bit. The chief takeaway with this, however, is that if their income is higher than the government is going to allow you credit for that additional warm body, you are going to have an increase in income, and you can fail the household income test because of that person that doesn't contribute. You'll find below this video a link to a page on our website that has the line showing low income for your household in your county. Low income is the same as 80% of area median income. You can see the actual area income, median income on the next line below the low income. The low income line is highlighted in light green to make it easier for you to find. All the California counties are listed alphabetically. Now, different counties have different programs. In some counties, you're eligible for the state program. In other counties, you're eligible for their local program. In still other counties, you're eligible for both state and local. You can find out which ones are available to you in your county at the link below this video. Now there's the issue of whether COVID-19 impacted you. Now, what that means is, did anyone in the household have a reduction in or a loss of income in some way related to COVID-19? If so, you qualify. If you're in a service industry, say a hairdresser or a barber or a nail salon or a server in a restaurant or similar situation, you undoubtedly qualify. If you're a server in a restaurant, for instance, even if your paycheck stayed exactly the same, if the tips were less because of fewer customers, you qualify. Same is true for gig workers like wedding photographers or musicians. The final question is, do you have a demonstrated risk of experiencing homelessness or housing instability? If your income decreased even slightly because of COVID-19 and you're behind on your rent, that certainly demonstrates that you are at risk of homelessness, or at minimum, that you're at housing instability. So what happens if you don't qualify for the rent relief benefits? Well, there's bad news and there's good news. We'll take bad news first. The bad news is that you still owe the landlord. And even if you move, you can be sued by the landlord for what you owe them. That is not just what you're behind. If you have a lease that has time left on it before it ends, you can be sued for that future rent as well. To add insult to injury, you get to pay their attorney's fees and costs for suing you. Needless to say, if you have to be evicted, that can be a large problem when it comes to renting somewhere else. So you say, well, what's the good news? Well, first, there's a saying, misery loves company. By that, I mean that you're going to be in the same boat with a lot of other people. Landlords, if they evict people, are going to have to refill their properties with other renters. Or they're going to have to work with existing renters, including ones that are behind on their rent. They don't want an empty apartment. Now, if they have to refill their rentals, they may have to go and take people who are evicted somewhere else. Now, it's likely they will be wanting to see why you could not pay your rent, where you were living before, and how you're going to be able to pay their rent if they rent to you now. Don't expect big management companies to do that. Your best shot's going to be the mom and pop landlords. Now, anybody that cannot pay their ongoing rent is going to be evicted. That's just a given. However, the smart landlords will probably work with their good tenants to let them catch up their rents. They may be able to get government help to pay them directly for some of their losses. Now, to be clear, you need to understand that these landlords, especially mom and pop landlords, are going to be in trouble on their mortgages, and they're behind just like you. They need to get their rent to keep afloat or they'll lose everything. They can want to work with you, but there's only so much they can do before they get foreclosed on. There was no moratorium on them having to pay their mortgage and utilities and all the other expenses. Now, the next piece of good news is that if you have a long-term lease, you can stay in the property and do a Chapter 13 bankruptcy reorganization where you pay the landlord the monthly rent plus pay a portion of what you're behind until you're current. That's assuming you have sufficient income to do that. The last piece of good news is that if you're in a situation where you cannot pay the debt you owe the landlord, that debt can be discharged. That means it can be wiped out in a Chapter 7 bankruptcy case. Now, if you want to know what the estimated income amount you have to be below is to get California rent relief funds in your county, go to the Sacramento bankruptcy-attorneys.com/rent-relief-amounts-by-county link below. While you're there, you can also get a free copy of my book, 49 Do's and Don'ts You Need to Know When Considering Bankruptcy. It is both informative and written for real people. It also has a bit of my quirky humor in it. You'll find it a fun read. The link is in the description below. Now, if you would like an in-person or Zoom strategy session with a California bankruptcy law specialist worth $450 at no charge, and you live in a county we serve, give us a call at 916-485-5444. That's 916-485-5444. Or you can go down and fill out the consultation form in the link below. You can see the counties we serve by going to the Sacramento bankruptcyattorneys.com/counties link, again in the description below this video. We will schedule a strategy session to review your financial situation, discuss your options with you, and develop a plan to solve your financial problems. Now, if you found this information helpful, please give it a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell to be informed when I upload my next video. There's a saying, knowledge is power. Isn't it time you got your power back? This is Gary Fraley signing off for now. I look forward to you joining me again for my next video.